Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I was just looking through contracts that we had available. We've got this units of ore from Vol, and if I recall correctly, we can mine from Vol, right? I can't remember. Maybe. Science data from surface of Tylo is easy enough. That'll definitely happen. And 550 units of ore from Vol I think should happen, but I actually had completely forgotten about this contract to enter the atmosphere of Jool. So this is actually fine. I realize that we made it through the Jool system a little faster than I had intended. We have until Friday of the week that this goes up, I believe, if I recall correctly. Let me double check that real quick here. KSP2, where are we? Come here, Steam. Okay, so Kerbal Space Program 2 comes out on February 24th. Yep, exactly. So Friday of the week that this goes live. Fantastic. So that means that we need to fill like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-ish episodes. So that's completely fine. We can definitely do this, and then we can go land on Elu. That'll be absolutely fine. So let's hop into the VAB, and let's get ourselves a really lightweight probe to send out to Jool. Hopefully we won't need any refueling or anything like that. We're going to base this off of the communications satellite, I think. So that would be, let's see, the long-range communication machine. This guy right here. So it's going to be a very, very light probe. This is currently actually the parachute delivery machine. We're going to be getting rid of the parachutes on it. Those are completely and totally unnecessary. A relay antenna is also unnecessary. We should probably go for a slightly lighter weight antenna. We've got a number of communication satellites in the Jool system at this point. So we should be able to get away with a relatively lightweight antenna. I mean, this is not a super lightweight antenna, but it's a lot lighter weight than, say, this one. Let's see, the mass is 0.65 tons, 0.05 tons. It's a pretty major difference. No doubt about that. A lot lower rating, but it should be okay, I think. Let's see. We could go for this high gain antenna that is actually a worse rating. And higher weight. Why would we do that? I think we'll be absolutely fine with this. This is slightly higher weight and the exact same rating. So yeah, I think this will be fine. We could go with this Communitron. This is actually almost exactly the same weight. And we can mount it right up here and just have it go like that. It's a higher rating at almost exactly the same weight. So that'll do just fine. Now, I do actually want to put in some sort of heat shield on this. The question is, what heat shield? So I think that we attach our antenna like this. Once we enter, it kind of doesn't matter anymore. But we put that on like that, and then we put on like a relatively oversized heat shield. Like this. With the intention of that entering the Julian atmosphere, right? And we're just going to get as low as we can before we're destroyed, which I believe is like negative 250 meters. We're not going to try to go like underneath the surface or anything. There isn't a surface. Underneath the, I guess you could call it kill sphere. That's not a thing that we're going to do. But we're just going to send a probe on in here. I'm rebuilding this fairing because we could get that a little lighter weight. That's a really blunt top, but I'm not sure that that really matters. I think it's probably fine, but I'm going to rebuild that one more time here. If I can select the fairing. Which apparently I can't. Oh, because we're in place mode. That would do it. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and rebuild this. I want to have this be like an absolutely minimum weight fairing, right? So something along the lines of... Boy, this one doesn't want to close in there. We could have it be something... Do we just need to widen this section a little bit? Yeah, that's what we needed. Okay. So it would be something like this. That's quite a blunt body up at the top, but I think it's probably fine. Cool. So we've got that heat shield there. I'm also going to toss in, honestly, just a single parachute should do the trick. But just for purposes of balancing, I'm going to toss in 2 radial mount parachutes. I don't think we'll need a drogue chute. If we do burn up in the atmosphere, oh well. That's completely fine. Let's just go ahead and mount our 2 parachutes here. Beautiful. And we're going to call this the dual probe. Fantastic. We'll go ahead and save that. And let's see here. There's no nuclear component to this. I just want to check here. This should be more than enough delta V. This should be fine. It's quite lightweight, and we should be okay. So we're going to save this and go ahead and launch it. Beautiful. We're taking this off to Joule, and we should be able to get there fairly soon. We may cut out a few rather lengthy time warps. We'll see how that ends up going. Joule is often like a 2-year warp to get to it, so let's just go ahead and get this off the pad for now. That's the top priority. Okay, throttle up, SAS on, and off we go. Beautiful. This is kind of wacky looking here with some, like, odd Z fighting, but it's fine. We'll get rid of that eventually. And we can go ahead and get a relatively aggressive gravity turn here. Since we are using a fairing, of course. Beautiful. This might be a little too aggressive. We'll see. We will indeed see. I mean, I could use the MechJeb ascent system now, I suppose, but I said that we weren't going to be using any automation, and I did mean that. So we're not going to. So up we go. Fantastic. Although technically we could be using smart ASS here instead of SAS. There we go. Problem solved. Technically we should be on surface velocity plus right now. Okay, there we go. We'll switch over to orbital mode eventually. But for the moment, this seems to be fine. We're punching up through the atmosphere nicely. We're going to be ditching our side boosters soon enough, which is, of course, fully expected. Cool. Side boosters will be detaching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Beautiful. Now I'm going to switch over to orbital mode. And we're just going to hover here until we're at about a little bit over 70 kilometers. This will be fine. It looks like our trajectory is decent. Maybe a little bit flatter than needed, but it should be fine. Realistically, at this point, we could certainly be at just horizontal velocity plus. We don't really need any additional verticality. Cool. And this will do fine. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and add a maneuver here. This is going to just be a prograde burn, of course, and we're just going to bring that on around to be somewhere like here. That'll do. Fantastic. And we are then going to go to the node. We can ditch our fairing. Excellent. And at this point, we can physics warp as we are coasting up. Technically, we're probably going to have to redo a little bit of our staging over here. And that's reasonably fine. There, that'll do. Okay, so we're going to hit space now. Fantastic. And we'll commence our circularization burn in 3, 2, 1, mark. Cool. Ooh, I don't like the way that physics warps. Okay, we're not going to physics warp that. Looks good. I thought about it, but yikes. The amount of compression and bending wasn't great. So we're just going to hold attitude here. 12 seconds left on this burn. We should probably consider at this point extending our solar panels and our antenna as well. Where's... Oh, right, our antenna's up here now. I believe I overshot a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. This is completely okay. We're just going to bring this around to prograde. Okay, so that's fine. This is only mildly awkward. And we're going to get ourselves our gravity assist over to the moon, but I do need to remember to extend our antenna here. If I can grab it. There we go. Fantastic. Antenna extended. Beautiful. Okay, so at this point, we are going to add a maneuver somewhere around here-ish. What would that look like? Timing is a little bit awkward. This is an impact trajectory, isn't it? It is. So we obviously don't want an impact trajectory, but we can bring it around something kind of like this. We'd want to change our timing to get ourselves an actual escape trajectory without being an impact trajectory, if at all possible. We may need to look for next orbit. If I can select our maneuver. There we go. We'll add a next orbit modifier to that. Fantastic. And perhaps get it a little bit more prograde. Okay, I'm having a bit of a hard time finding the exact timing for it. It's definitely slightly awkward. Let's set that as target. I want to see what our timing is looking like here. Okay. Bringing it around more like over here is more like what we want. Unfortunately, while that is a nice escape trajectory, it is an impact trajectory. So we need to back that off ever so slightly. And that's now not an escape trajectory. So maybe we just escape the old-fashioned way. If I'm apparently bad at finding a gravity assist right now. Yeah, that might be for the best. Wait a sec. Wait a sec. That's a gravity assist. That is a gravity assist. I don't really like the radial motion there, but it's fine. Let's back this off ever so slightly to about here-ish. That's much safer. Okay, cool. So let's physics warp our way over to get aligned. And that's looking good. So now we're going to warp to this maneuver node. Going to be burning that in about a minute. Ooh, we ended up missing our node quite badly. But that's okay. We'll be able to get in position, no problem. Cool. And we'll have a decent amount of delta V left here to work with our... I don't like that oscillation. But whatever. I don't like that at all. Okay. Let's just go ahead and burn here. I'm actually going to turn our SAS on and lock to the maneuver node. That feels more stable right now, so I guess we'll just have to switch between these. Just whatever seems to be more stable. Although this has that rocking motion that we noticed before. Whereas this is doing, well, this number. But it's fine. It should be okay. So let's just get ready for this flyby. And let's bring this on in to be about... That should do. Cool. So this is a safer gravity assist, right? We're going to warp up over here and hope that we don't have massive changes to our orbit. And we don't. That looks good. And then, of course, we're going to warp on past the moon as soon as we're loaded in here. I would warp not this way. I would warp further, but it doesn't like warping past the transitions very much. So we're going to go on by the moon. Goodbye, moon. Thank you for your gravity. Always a pleasure. And we are, of course, going to come out over this direction. We're going to be escaping Kerbin's gravity around here-ish. So we'll go ahead and begin a warp there while we're setting our target one last time to be Jewel. And at the descending node, we will go ahead and burn normal 1.4 degrees. Cool. So something like that. We'll still have some fuel left in our booster tank here. That's looking good. Excellent. Let's go ahead and physics warp as we turn. I can't help but notice that we don't appear to be turning. Okay, MechJeb is very confused. We're going to head over to the maneuver node like this. Cool. The game in general is a little confused. But there we go. Let's go ahead and warp. Fantastic. Goodbye, Kerbin. Goodbye, Moon. Hey, there's our surface mystery goo observations from Tylo. So there's that contract done. Fantastic. Okay, so our inclination change is going to be in 1 minute here. Ooh, I don't like that physics warp. Let's just put this on stability assist. Okay. That'll do for now. 30 seconds on this burn. 20. 10. And commence burn. Fantastic. That'll do. That should be more than close enough. So at this point, we will target Jewel, and it seems like somewhere out here is probably about where we'd want to do that, right? A little later than this. Out over this direction. Okay. What's that encounter actually looking like? That's not a bad encounter. We can bring that in, though, and so we shall. This is a better encounter. I don't care about the inclination. We just need to enter the atmosphere, right? So we can bring this down to like 175. That's 25 kilometers into the atmosphere. That should give us the aero braking that we need. Realistically. We shouldn't need to do any braking other than that. Cool. So let's go ahead and align to that node. We will physics warp our way on over. And that's going to be in 142 days. Before we actually do this burn, though, I want to head back to the Space Center. Specifically the tracking station. I want to hop over to Vol and make sure that we are actually mining there. If not, we'll get rid of that contract. I can't remember if Vol was one of the ones that we can't mine on or not. We'll see. Just based on the orientation of it. Let's see here. Vol. Okay, what do we got? We'll load this on in, and we'll see if we're mining here. We needed 550 units of ore. We may be able to move the miner on Vol if this is one that isn't actually going to be a thing. We'll see. What do we got? You can do it, KSP. We are mining. I can hear it. Okay. Good to know. Just wanted to double check that. Yeah, this looks good. So actually our contract is complete just by loading that up. Fantastic. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to pause the recording here, and we will be back once we have that time warp complete, and we'll just do our burn. See you guys in a moment. Okay, and here we are. We are about to start up this burn. This will be in 55 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and warp us a little further ahead. And this is, of course, going to burn out this entire stage. I'm hoping this will be a little bit more stable once we have this gone. Anyway, hopefully that'll be the case. It should be. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Beautiful. And now we're on our maneuvering stage. So we're just going to lock to the maneuver node. There we go. Can we get away with physics warping this? I'd argue we can. What happens if we MechJeb at the node? Oh, that's so much better. Fantastic. So that's looking good. Okay. So we're going to bring this on in, of course. We are going to focus Joule here, and this is our target. It doesn't really matter the inclination that we come in at. And hopefully, this will be on the light side, but it doesn't really matter that either. I mean, realistically, I don't think it will be, will it? Let's look at where this is going to be, this intercept. That's like 25% of the orbit. It's probably not going to be on the light side of Joule. But that's fine. Okay, coming out of physics warp here, and let's just get that last little bit here. That should be good. How are we looking? Well, that is technically an impact trajectory. Not shocked about that. We want to dial this in to be somewhere around that 175 kilometers. Oh, okay. We need to go prograde, not retrograde. That surprises me. Although, I'm thinking about what if we were to flip this orbit and come in on this side? So what that would end up meaning is, we've got plenty of delta V for these maneuvers. What that would end up meaning is we would do something like, no, that's not relevant. Okay, it doesn't actually matter which way we come in then. I'm dumb. Cool. So that's 435 kilometers. We're going to need to thrust limit our engines here. Thrust limiting this down to 0.5%. And we're going to flip back around to prograde. And we'll just dial this in. We need to be able to aerobrake, right? So we'll just bring that right on down. I liked that 175 number. So that looks good. Cool. Which side are we coming in on? We're coming in this way. Okay. So we should warp now to somewhere around here. Now that's going to be about a 2-year, almost 3-year warp. The good news is, we have all of our other contracts done. So we're not going to have any problems there. And of course, we're going to head out to Elu soon enough. But I do want to have this mission done this episode. The real question is, of course, what's the timing look like for the Elu mission? That's probably going to be like 2 episodes there, I'm thinking. So we'd have like 1 slush episode, wherein we could just like mess around or something. It would be essentially a time kill episode so that we could immediately start in on KSP2. Now, I'm not sure the time that KSP2 releases. So that first episode might be delayed in like our normal premiere slot. I don't know. We'd see what kind of timing that would look like based on the release time. I don't have early access to it, so whatever. Okay, we've got a decent amount of warp left here. I'm going to pause it again, and we will be right back in just a moment. Okay, here we are, about to enter the Julian system. Fantastic. And we're going to bring this right on in here. We've still got about 90 days on our time warp here. There's a lot of distance that we have to cover. No doubt about that. But we are entering the system now. Fantastic. And we're falling down towards Joule. So at this point, we want to be pointing prograde, right? So where is Joule? Here is Joule. So we're definitely going to have our photovoltaic panels burn off. We may have our communitron burn off as well. That's definitely going to be a thing. We're going to keep all of this around that we can. It doesn't matter if this whole thing explodes, right? That's the point. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. All we need to do is enter the atmosphere. So let's warp forward about 3 hours. And we are accelerating. This thing may blow up, and that's completely fine. All we have to do technically is enter the atmosphere, but we're going to go as far as we can into the atmosphere. Cool. Look at that orbital velocity. We're going to have to bleed a lot of speed via aerobraking. Will this require a second aerobrake pass? Maybe? Maybe. Let's go ahead and warp down to here. If we blow up, we blow up. It's completely fine. That will still complete the contract. Again, these solar panels are gonna go away. I probably should have gotten solar panels that can be retracted for this entry. That might have been wise. But for the moment, I think it seems okay. So the question is, how much are we going to slow down from this aerobrake? If we don't slow down enough around here, we're going to do a retrograde burn to try to get ourselves into orbit around Joule. But let's continue to warp here. Okay, we're going to enter the atmosphere very shortly. Let's make sure we're aligned prograde. I'm going to physics warp for the time being. Excellent. 200 kilometers is the atmosphere limit here. So technically we should be in it right now. And indeed we are. So as expected, there goes the solar panels. No shockers there. Okay, these bits are not protected by the heat shield. Fair enough. That's really wacky. But that's fine. At this point, we should probably go ahead and jettison this. There we go. Cool. And we are decelerating. Is it enough to get us orbital at this point? Well, we can see our Joule escape is getting a lot longer away. We're coming in hotter than I expected. There's no doubt about that. We maybe should have built a bit of a spacer here. But we're decelerating nicely. Time to periapsis is still 20 seconds away. So we're going to bleed a decent amount of speed in this atmosphere still. Technically, our contract is complete. These are all surface deployed contracts. Oh, we've entered orbit now. Beautiful. So it looks like we're not going to have to do any burning. Our ablator is running kind of low, but there's no shockers there. Okay. So our contract should be complete. I think I just clicked through it, but that's fine. We are now having our apoapsis pass pull. Behold the power of the aerobrake. I love it. We've burned off not quite half of our ablator yet. This is looking good. And we still have all of this fuel, right? We have so much extra fuel. No doubt about that. But as this comes down, it's going to get harder and harder to move. So this may require a second aerobrake pass, or maybe even a third. We are going up right now. So that's absolutely fine. Actually, we're losing attitude here, it looks like. Or do we need to be in surface velocity plus? Yeah, that's what we need. Okay, beautiful. That'll do just fine. Of course, we only have so much electric charge. But that's okay. We are coming out of this atmosphere, and that seems good. I'm going to put our remote guidance unit into hibernation as soon as we exit the atmosphere. In fact, now is fine. Cool. So we can see here we're not draining any electric charge. We're to bring it around again as soon as we exit the atmosphere, which we are now out. So let's warp. Looking at what we've got here, we do have a minor electric charge drain, but it should be fine. Beautiful. And back around we come. Let's warp on in and aerobrake this again. So a second aerobrake pass here will be completely fine. Fantastic. Let's physics warp our way on in. Cool. We've got plenty of electric charge for the time being. Funnily enough, is this our thrust to weight going up as we burn off a blader? I'm not sure why. Yeah, that's our thrust to weight going up. Fascinating. Okay. That's completely fine. So we're going to continue to bring this on in, right? I'm going to physics warp us as we come through here. We're going to hit the periapsis now. But we have dropped down our apoapsis quite a lot, by over half at this point. That's looking good. We could drop our periapsis even lower if we wanted to. But it seems reasonably fine. Cool. Let's do another pass. We're in 4x time warp right now? Yeah, we're in physics warp. Let's go ahead and do another pass here. Cool. And off we go. Excellent. We'll continue to warp forward as we fall. And will this aerobrake pass be the final one? We'll find out. Our apoapsis is now within, or almost within, the orbit of Lathe. It definitely will be by the time we're done with this aerobrake pass. Are we going to run out of a blader? Actually, we're already out of a blader, which is kind of funny that we're out of a blader, but we're not having any other overheat issues. Huh. That's exciting. But we are slowing down nicely. 11,000 kilometers is our apoapsis height now. Now 10,000. Cool. So these repeated aerobrakes are a little bit tedious, right? But they're not... They're efficient. There's no doubt about that. This is an efficient way to brake. And right now, if we wanted to enter orbit, we would just burn here and raise our periapsis up so that we would enter orbit really, really cheaply. Like, incredibly cheaply. But that's not the point of this thing. The point of this probe is, of course, to eventually be destroyed in the Julian atmosphere. So we're going to bring this on around. The question is, though, do we have time to do this episode? And the answer is no. So we're going to finish this next episode. Dig into that one episode slush a little bit. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Kentogan, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Spartan News, Unisoul, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.